A top is coming. That is the title for this week's market video. Now, this title implies that we're going to see a all-time high from the market. In the last few video, I have said the market been sending us messages to tell us to expect a new high either from the SP 500 or from the Dow Jones Industrial. And as you can see, the SP 500 is only 0.62% away from its all-time high based on Friday's close. And here are the messages the market has been sending us. And the first message the market sent us was this positive divergence between the New York Stock Exchange cumulative AD line and the S&P 500. And then the second one is when the AD line made a new high while the S&P 500 still below its all-time high. And on Friday, we also see continuation of the cumulative AD line making new high while the S&P 500 is still haven't made a new all-time high yet. And the other message that the market sent us was this New York Stock Exchange composite making new all-time high. Friday, it pushes right up and put in a new all-time high and close with a new all-time closing high. Now, we know the market doesn't top while there's a broad market participation. And the New York Stock Exchange Index is the broadest market index for the New York Stock Exchange because it complies all the traded stock in the New York Stock Exchange. And typically, the market top when there's only a few stock is actually making a move. So we normally see that very small advanced decline, very small number of advancing issue outnumber declining issue. And sometimes we even see reversal that there are actually more declining stock than advancing stock when the market top. And there's that saying in the market that they don't ring the bell when it is at the top. Looking at these major market indexes, you see this Dow Jones Industrial is just a little bit over 20 points from its all-time closing high. And also notice that the Russell 2000 also making a higher high. The only index that did not make a higher high last week was the NASDAQ 100, the tech-heavy index, and it is 4.7% from its all-time closing high. Looking at this sentiment chart here, we notice that the spike of the VIX that went up to somewhere around 38 and came back down and dipped below the 20 level, and we saw the market put in 8 consecutive updates. And also the put-call ratio is also back below 0.75. And definitely the market participants are showing no fear and they are putting risk back on. Notice on Friday, the up-down volume ratio is over 10 to 1. It was actually 11.6 to 1 in favor of the up volume. And also the daily advanced decline was over 2,000. It was 2,254 more advancing issue than declining issue. And that tells us almost 90% of the traded stock on Friday were advanced in price. And the new high, new low, we see that the new 52-week high expanded to almost 300. It was actually 293 on Friday, number of stock that make new 52-week high. Now, the other thing that is remarkable is only 6 stock make new 52-week low. So that kind of shows you some internal strength in the market here in the New York Stock Exchange. And in the NASDAQ market, we also saw almost 6 to 1 in the up-down volume ratio in favor of the up volume. And on the daily advanced decline, there's 2,400 more advancing issue than declining issue, and that's over 80% of the traded stock were actually advancing in price on Friday. We also saw the expansion on the number of stock making new 52-week high in the NASDAQ market, coming back up close to that 300 level. On Friday, 273 stock make new 52-week high, while only 63 stock make new 52-week low. Although last week we did not see the NASDAQ 100 put in a higher high on a closing basis, but we did see a little bit of a short-term positive divergence between the NASDAQ cumulative AD line and the NASDAQ 100. So that is a positive sign. So in the short term, we could see the NASDAQ 100 to come up and take out this high to resolve the positive divergence. Let's take a look at the indexes, starting with the ES, the E-mini S&P 500 futures here. Looking at this volume profile on the chart, remember from our last week's video, we're talking about this balance area. We're basically looking for this to see would it be able to break out this balance area and move up and fill this gap into the all-time high. So as you can see, it broke this 12 consecutive one-time framing up on Thursday and gave the market a little bit of a spook by putting this outside day. Then on Friday, it put in a inside day, but it's still above this balance area. So we'll be continue to watch to see will the E-mini SP 500 move higher and come up and take out this all-time high, or will it come back into this balance area and do a look above and fail? Then we'll be watching for it to possibly trace back into this 5450. Now we're going to take a look at it a little bit more detail on the candlestick chart just a bit later. And looking at this market profile chart for the ES, we see that there's nothing too much of an unfinished business above the high here. We only have a POC that need to be tagged. Then the next level will be the all-time high up at 5721.25. Now there are quite a few of unfinished business below last Friday's settle. So you can see that there are all these unfinished business back in August. So will it come down and clear out some of these unfinished business before it push up to an all-time high, or it will continue to push higher, take out the all-time high and come down and finish up these unfinished business? We'll take a look at it a little bit more detail on the daily candlestick chart and see could we get a little bit more clue. On this daily candlestick chart for the ES, we noticed last week it closed right at the or near the upper range of the weekly expected move. And presently, we are looking at these two distribution here. So we see this upper distribution and here's a lower distribution. The market is pricing in the upper range just slightly above this upper distribution and above the all-time high. So we be looking for the all-time high to be in play in the coming week. If the price is able to come up to the top of this distribution and take out this upper range. Now, if it come down, then we be looking at this lower range of the weekly expected move, which is between 5575.50 and 5545. Then see would it be able to get a bounce back up, basically holding this HVN and get a bounce back up. Otherwise, we'd be looking at this gap fill and possibly retrace back down to near this 5450 area here. So here are some of these levels that we'd be keeping an eye on. And the all-time high here at 5721.25. So basically the upper range, 5735. And the gap fill down here, or this HVN, near the 5532.50. Now, if the price breaks this upper distribution, then we'd be looking for the possibility of come back down and eventually retrace and test the August low. So those are the scenario that we'd be watching for the ES in the coming week, is to see would it be able to come up, take out the all-time high, or come down and possibly do a gap fill. And for the SPY, we see that it also closed up at the upper range of the weekly expected move. And we are looking at these two distribution areas here. Here's the upper distribution and the lower distribution. And for the coming week, the market is pricing in a 571.30 and 569.90 for the upper range, and 554.40 and 552 for the lower range. So for the coming week, the scenario is to see would it be able to break out of this distribution and put in an all-time high and work its way up to the upper range, or would it come down and test the lower range and see would it be able to hold support here and push us back up. Now, if it break this lower range and come down and fill this gap, then we want to see will this 544.69, the HVN, be able to provide some support and push it back up. And if it doesn't, then we'd be looking for the possibility of coming back in to this lower distribution here, and then eventually come down and retest the August low. For the QQQ, we saw it came back up to this upper range here on Thursday and faded down. And it did not close near the upper range of the weekly expected move, but it did close within the weekly range here and sitting right below this HVN. And for the coming week, the market is pricing in 493, between 493 and 490.90 for the upper range. And notice that it is not up here at the all-time high. As a matter of fact, it is below this distribution here, this HVN. And the low range is between 469.10 and 466. So for the coming week, we're going to see would it be able to get back above this HVN at this 480.60 and see would it be able to work itself through and break out of this balance area here and pushes up to the upper range. Now, if it could break above this upper range, then we have to keep an eye on this HVN at 496.38. Then we'll see what the price action will be up here. Then we get a clue to see will the all-time high be in play, or will it get rejected and come back down and do a little bit of a look above and fail. So again, on the downside scenario is to look for this lower range here to see would it be able to get a bounce back up. Now, if it is unable to hold this lower range and come down and fill this gap here, then we want to see what this HVN at 462.91 be able to provide some support and push it back up. And if it doesn't, then there's a good chance that we be looking at this distribution here, and that would put the August low in play for the near term. With the SP 500 just a little bit over 0.5% from its all-time high, and with the cumulative AD line at a new high, along with the New York Stock Exchange Composite making new all-time high, the odds is in favor for the market to put in a new all-time high in the near term. And if you'd like to see additional content from me, be sure to go and check out my Substack newsletter at smtraderca.substack.com. You can find my daily trade plan and the level that I'll be watching for the coming days. If you find the content to be useful and informative, be sure to smash the thumbs up to give it a like and help me promote the video on YouTube. And if you're new to this channel, click the subscribe to help support this channel. Thank you for watching and good luck on your trading.